Welcome to Health Club with Julia. I'm your host, health coach, and registered dietitian, Julia Campagna. I'm on a mission to bridge the gap between looking your best and living your life to the fullest. After years of over dieting, struggling with disordered eating, and destroying my social life, I finally found how to reach my dream physique without sacrificing the things I love. Now I'm sharing all my strategies and education with you. We'll be talking all things health, including hormones, metabolism, and lifestyle to help you cut out the confusion and start living. So get cozy and join the club. Hello, welcome to another episode of the Health Club with Julia podcast. As always, I am so happy you are here. Now, before we dive into this week's episode, I'm just going to say this right off the bat because I always feel so bad about this. For those who are listening to this podcast through YouTube, you may have experienced this before if you watch multiples of mine, but I record for my podcast for YouTube on my camera. I have a Sony a7 III, and it only allows me to record up to 30 minutes. And after that 30 minutes, it just shuts off. It just stops recording. And so all of my YouTube podcast episodes, they'll go for that 30 minutes and then it'll just cut wherever I'm speaking. So anybody who's watching it on YouTube, they can watch the 30 minutes, but if they want to finish the episode, they have to then go to Spotify or Apple to finish the episode. And I don't understand why. I've tried to look up how to change the time on my camera so it records for a longer period of time, but I am not tech savvy. So if anybody knows anything about technology, cameras, how that works, and also if you know anything about Sony a7 III specifically, please let me know if there's any way that I can get it to record for a longer period of time, because I would love to not have it just cut off in the middle of me speaking for those who do enjoy watching the podcast on YouTube. So that's a side note. If anybody has any suggestions or knows what to do, either DM me on Instagram or you can just leave a comment below. But yeah, hopefully I can get this resolved for you guys. I always feel so bad, and I put a little clip at the end of my YouTube videos hey, if you want to finish listening to this episode, jump onto Apple Podcasts or Spotify, but it would just be nice to finish it all in one platform and not have to go to another one. So, side note there, just putting it out there. If anybody has any suggestions or tips on this, let me know. I will love you for that. But anyway, getting to this week's episode, it's going to be a Q&A. So last week I put up a little question box on my Instagram, so if you ever want me to answer one of your questions, I do these Q&As periodically, but follow me on Instagram and you'll know. I'll put hey, I'm planning my next podcast episode. It's going to be a Q&A. Drop your questions below, and then you can leave a question for me to answer more in depth on the podcast. So it's going to be a Q&A. I love these episodes so much. I just feel I connect with you guys more, if that makes any sense at all. I know that I'm not really talking to anybody face to face or live, but I feel you guys are asking the questions and I'm connecting in the sense that I'm answering the questions that you guys are asking. So I just like that kind of connection through this platform. And I also just love to educate, hence me being a coach, but I just love that side of it. So these episodes are really fun for me. I love doing them. But let's dive into some questions and answer. I have about 8 good ones I want to go over, so we'll see if we can get to them all. So I'm not going to talk too long here. I'm just going to kind of go right into these questions to hopefully get all of these done in as short amount of time as possible for you guys. Keep it short and concise. But let me stop my rambling and let's get into these questions here. So the first question I have is, I'm looking to start a family with my husband and haven't had any luck yet. She put in parentheses, it's been for roughly 4 months. Is there any suggestions you have? So this is a very loaded question. This is a great question to ask, but it's very loaded and I would need to know a lot about your situation, history with certain things, to really give you a full in-depth analysis of my thoughts on your specific situation. But for general public who is looking to get pregnant, they haven't had any luck, I'm going to give you my general recommendations and thoughts. So first and foremost is always going to be get labs done to check your fertility health. You want to be making sure that you have data points to see what is going on in my fertility health and why might I be struggling with this, right? So first of all, 4 months isn't that crazy of a time. It can take longer for people to get pregnant, but it's still like, you know, you're still kind of in this worrisome place right now. And so first and foremost thing that I would always recommend is to get some labs, see what's going on, and an internal standpoint to see, is there actually something going on deeper? Is it like my lifestyle habits, or is actually something going on that I really need to pay attention to a little bit more? And so definitely first thing I would do is get some labs done. You'll want to check pretty much all of your sex hormones. So you want to check your estrogens, your progesterone, testosterone, your FSH, LH. This is all going to tell you if, you know, there's anything going on with your cycle health. So we have to ovulate to really get pregnant. And so there could be an issue with your ovulation. Maybe you're not ovulating every month. So I would definitely check those ones out. I would also go as far as getting your DHEA checked out and some thyroid testing done, so your free T3, free T4. I would get vitamin D checked as well. Those are kind of more like on the basic side of it, the things that I would get tested. But if you want to even go, you know, a little bit more comprehensive with your fertility labs, like I said, free T3, free T4, but I would even go farther on your thyroid and do reverse T3, TPO, TSH, get all of those checked. And then you can also get checked your prolactin levels. I would add that in there. If you want something a little bit more comprehensive, you can get your metabolic panel checked. So this is your complete blood count, a complete metabolic panel, A1C levels, insulin, your CRP markers. Let's check if there's any inflammation going on in the body. Also good to check your iron, ferritin and iron levels, see if there's anything going on there, and any nutrient deficiencies. So those are some labs that I would suggest getting done if you are in this spot. But as I said, first and foremost, the most important thing is getting labs done to check if there's anything going on a little bit deeper than just simply changing your lifestyle habits. So that's first. Second thing I would do is ask you, are you tracking your cycle? I know a lot of women who are trying to get pregnant do track their cycle, but there's a ton of women who are trying to get pregnant that don't track their cycle. So make sure that you are tracking your cycle using some sort of app, or old school, writing it down, pen and paper. But make sure that you are tracking, one, to see your overall health of your cycle, how long is your cycle. And when I mean cycle in this sense, I'm talking about your whole entire cycle, including the 4 phases. I'm not just talking about your bleeding days. I'm talking your whole cycle from menstruation to, again, menstruation again the next time. So that whole menstrual, follicular, ovulatory, luteal phases. So check to see the health of your cycle. Is it long? Is it short? Do you have a ton of PMS symptoms? These are things that will tell you that maybe something is off with your cycle health, but also tracking your cycle to know when your best days are to get pregnant. A lot of women think that, oh, you can get pregnant every single day of the month, which isn't necessarily true. So if you're just doing it every single day all the time, well, if you're doing it every single day, odds are you're doing it anyway during your ovulatory period, which is your fertile window. But if you're just doing it like on random days, you're not really tracking, you're not really sure, you're just trying every now and then, you might be trying on days that it's not optimal, it's not really your fertile window. And so tracking your cycle also helps you understand, what is my fertile window, and let's really try harder on those specific days where my chances of getting pregnant are higher. So definitely track your cycle, use apps. I use Natural Cycles. It is like a form of quote unquote birth control because it just shows you your fertile window, when you're not fertile, those kinds of things. So I like that one. I know there's the other app, Flow, and I know there's a ton more apps, but it's very accessible to anyone really. Just go on your app store and get a cycle tracking app and start tracking, start seeing what's going on. Again, tracking your cycle is more data points. The more data points we have, the better we can see what's going on when. So that'd be my second suggestion for you. And then third thing is your lifestyle. So making lifestyle adjustments and focusing on proper nutrition. So with lifestyle, Make sure that you are working on nervous system regulation. If you are overly stressed, if you are chronically stressed and you feel overwhelmed a lot of the time, that's not great. The biggest kind of thing here, and easiest way to put it, is that we want to make our body feel as safe as possible. The safer your body feels, the better it's going to function and help you get pregnant. So make sure that, number one, you are focusing on your nervous system regulation, doing that through breath work, walking outside in nature, doing yoga, meditation, journaling, reading. There's a ton of things, but make sure that you are doing that on a daily basis. Again, I will disclaim that stress is necessary. We do need a stress response, but if you're chronically stressed, that can definitely impact your fertility and cause some issues there. So number one, with lifestyle, make sure that you are checking your nervous system regulation. Number two is activity. How active are you? Are you somebody that does go to the gym regularly or does some form of exercise regularly? If yes, that's great. Don't really need to change much there except for making sure you're not overtraining. But if you are someone who doesn't really have a consistent schedule with working out, exercise is great. We need daily movement. If you were just sitting on the couch or sitting at your desk at work all day long every single day and you're not actually getting up and getting active, you might want to add some of that in. That could help as well. So making sure you're doing some form of daily movement and also making sure you're not overtraining. Overtraining is definitely a cause for infertility, so make sure that you are not overdoing it, you're not overstressing your body out in terms of physical fitness, and making sure that you are, again, getting some daily movement, but within, your limits. You know what is too much. If you are going 7 days a week and going hard all 7 days, probably overtraining. I would give yourself at least 2 days of rest, but on those rest days too, feel free to go for a short walk. You don't have to be just couch potato on your 2 rest days. You can do something. It just should be really, really, really low impact and very slow moving. The other 5 days is when you can go a little bit harder, push yourself in the gym with weights a little bit more, go for a jog. There's different things that you can do, obviously, but making sure that you are getting daily movement in, but not overtraining. So that's the second piece of that. Third piece is sleep. What is your sleep routine like? Sleep does impact your hormones. We want to make sure that you are getting proper sleep, and not only quantity. A lot of the times when we say, make sure you're getting good sleep, they're like, oh, okay, I get 8 hours a night, so I'm good. It's not just the quantity of hours you sleep, it is the quality of your sleep. Are you waking up throughout the night? Are you staying awake throughout the night? Are you having trouble falling asleep? How is the actual quality of your sleep? That's really going to be important here too, so make sure that you are focusing on that. You also want to make sure that you are focusing on gut health. Gut health is tied to your hormones, aka, part of the fertility piece. So you want to make sure that you have good digestion, proper gut health, because that can definitely change things and alter things as well. So taking a deeper dive into your gut health. Now, nutrition support. Again, this is the easiest way to kind of describe this is, one, how much are you having whole foods in your diet? Is it mostly comprised of whole foods, or is it mostly comprised of processed foods or eating out, things like that? So really kind of check there. And then also, what is the color of your meals? If you are having continuously the same color meal over and over again, that's a sign that you're not getting in a lot of variety of micronutrients, aka vitamins and minerals. So for example, I had a client come to me who was like, this is what I'm eating. She wasn't eating anything bad. She was cooking all of her meals at home, but all of her meals were beige. She had a protein bar, which was brown beige. She was having rice and chicken with no vegetables, so that's beige. Both of those are beige colors. She was having, I don't know, I can't remember off the top of my head, but breakfast, lunch, dinner, and her snacks were all beige colors. And I was like, listen, we gotta add some variety in. So the saying, eat the rainbow for Skittles, is actually true in real life for not Skittles, but for whole food diet. We do want to have the rainbow. We want to have a lot of color and different kinds of fruits and vegetables throughout the week. This will ensure that we're getting in a variety of vitamins and minerals that are needed for our body. So on simplest terms, make sure, one, you are eating the rainbow in terms of whole foods, and number two, you are actually eating whole foods most of the time. Try not to eat out as much. There's inflammatory foods, there's inflammatory ingredients and things. We want to make sure that the inflammation is coming down as much as possible. And also, your body just thrives off of whole foods, so making sure that you are focusing on those things. And further, you want to focus on things like selenium, magnesium, zinc is really important as well. Folic acid is really important. So you can work on those kinds of things. But overall, you just want to make sure that, again, on simplest terms, you are having foods that have a lot of different color to them, and making sure that you are eating the rainbow, eating whole foods. So that, keeping it kind of simple. Again, this will be dependent on the person, so I could give more specifics on nutrition advice if you want more information on that. But then the last part I will say with this is supplements. There are some supplements that you can take, and again, supplements are very individualized. I will not go and tell you that you need to take all the supplements because I don't know what is going on with your case specifically. But some more, generic ones that are beneficial for most is upping your selenium, like I already mentioned. So for this, it's easy to get in through whole foods. Brazil nuts. Have 1 or 2 of those a day, you're getting in your selenium needs. So that one, you don't really need to have a pill form of that. Get Brazil nuts and have those. But I would definitely make sure you're keeping track of your selenium. Vitamin B or a B complex could be beneficial for you. Again, kind of dependent, but that's one that most people can have. Along with vitamin D, that's one that most people can have as well, so that could be beneficial. A high quality multivitamin might be beneficial for you, so that you're getting in, multiple vitamins in your diets. That can be beneficial. Also a prenatal, this is going to be, we want to look out for folic acid levels in a prenatal. You want to also make sure that a prenatal is third-party tested, so make sure that you're looking out for that. Again, the quality of it does matter. One that I like is called Weenatal. That's a great one to take. But those would be some supplement recommendations. Again, supplements are very individualized, so I don't want to give out too much information without knowing more on your background, but those are places that you can start. And then, now this is the last thing that I will say on this topic, is keep trying. Again, you had mentioned here, it's been about 4 months. 4 months in the grand scheme of things isn't a super long time. It does take some people a really long time to get pregnant. So don't get discouraged that 4 months in, you're still not seeing any change with this. I would definitely make sure that you are going over the things that I had mentioned in this answer here, and make sure everything is aligned with what you're trying to achieve. But keep trying. Don't stop trying. Don't get discouraged. Just keep trying. It could take longer than you think, and that is okay. But just keep going. Keep trying. It will happen for you eventually. Just make sure that you are getting things checked out, making sure your lifestyle, nutrition is in line, tracking your cycle, all the things that I mentioned within this answer. So that is my answer to question number 1. And again, this is going to be more, I could give you more specifics if you wanted to message me. I would be glad to go over those with you. Moving on to question 2 is, my period is always so, in all caps, so bad. In parentheses, moody, bad cramping, heavy. What can I do to lessen it? So again, we're going to start this question out, or this answer out, with data points. See what's going on a deeper level. Clearly your body is telling you that something is going on. If you're super moody, if you have really bad cramping, if your flow is really heavy, those are signs that something might be off and you might have some sort of imbalance. So your body is telling you these things, but to take that a step further, what I will start off with saying again is get labs. See what's going on a deeper level. See what the root cause is. Do you have estrogen dominance? Is there something going on with your DHEA, testosterone, your androgens? See what's going on a deeper level, and then go from there. If everything is normal, okay, we got to work on your lifestyle adjustments to help manage this better and help your body feel a little bit better during this time. But there could be some deeper rooted issue going on, like some hormonal imbalance that you might want to address and go through that healing process, and that should help with your PMS symptoms. But beyond that, getting labs done, check your lifestyle habits. So I recently actually just put up a reel on this on Instagram, and it was like showing two sides of the same coin. Basically, someone saying, oh, my PMS sucks. But in, person A, they are doing all the shitty things. I'll actually go through my reel here and kind of talk about what person A is doing who has really bad PMS. So person A is waking up, they're grabbing coffee first thing in the morning before anything, then they get ready really, really quickly, run out the door, skip breakfast, and oh, that just played very loudly, okay. So then they're running out the door, they're not having breakfast, they're skipping their meal, and they're just like in a hurry, in a rush. So they're also overwhelmed, stressed because they're in a rush, skipping breakfast, and then they, again, are always stressed at work, they never take breaks at work, they're just working nonstop. Then they might come home and they have something really quick, so their diet is higher in processed foods, chips, cookies, the things. Then at nighttime, they get into bed and they scroll on their phone until midnight or later, or just late into the night. Whereas person B, who has good PMS, like nothing crazy going on, is, pretty healthy in their cycle, they wake up first thing and they get some natural sunlight in. And they sip on some water. So they are not having coffee first thing, they are getting some natural sunlight, sipping on water. Then they do eat a balanced breakfast every single morning. They make sure that they do not skip their meals. They're getting something in that is nourishing and balanced. They will also take breaks from work and they will focus on stress management every single day. Their diet is mostly whole foods, I should say. And then with their sleep routine, they have like actual good sleep hygiene where they are brushing their teeth, washing their face, getting into bed. Maybe they scroll for a little bit. Yeah, I know we're all human. Maybe they watch a show for a little bit, but they do other things, right? So they'll turn off the TV or off their phone at a certain time to have better sleep. Maybe they read before they go to bed, and they're making sure that they are getting 8+ hours of sleep every single night. So that's just like a difference between people and what I see. So a lot of the times, certain lifestyle habits will cause PMS to be worse, and that is something that can be easily fixed. So make sure that you are not having coffee first thing in the morning on an empty stomach right when you're waking up. That can affect your cortisol levels. So you want to make sure that you are getting natural sunlight, also helping our circadian rhythm. So getting natural sunlight the first thing in the morning, having some water, making sure you're not skipping meals, making sure if you do have to run out the door pretty early, you're either waking up a little bit earlier to make sure you're getting in breakfast or have a breakfast prepped to have on the way to work. You are working on your stress management every single day. You have proper sleep hygiene. Your diet is made up of whole food sources. All of these things will help you have better PMS and a better period. Now, some other tips beyond just like your regular lifestyle habits are: 1, balancing your blood sugar. This is definitely related to your PMS and the health of your PMS. So making sure that you have balanced blood sugar. One of the biggest things is your carbs, making sure you have no naked carbs, making sure you're pairing carbs with protein, fats, or fiber to help stabilize your blood sugar. Also not skipping meals, that helps to stabilize blood sugar as well. But 1, making sure you have good blood sugar balance. 2 is liver support, so you are excreting any excess hormones going around. Specifically, this is seen with estrogen dominance, where that estrogen is recirculating into the body if they don't have good liver function and good gut health. So make sure that you are supporting your liver. I do have a whole podcast episode on this, so you can go back and listen to that. 3rd, I've already said this, but stress management, very, very important in terms of cycle health and PMS. Your exercise adjustments, making sure that you're not overdoing it, especially, there is what's called cycle syncing, and I'm sure that a lot of you listening have probably heard of cycle syncing, which there is some truth to that, but it doesn't have to be as extreme as people make it. So basically what I like to do with cycle syncing is just feeling out how your body is feeling. So the week leading up to your period or your luteal phase is typically when people start to feel a little bit worse. They start to turn more inward, they have lower energy, they're just a little bit more moody, and those PMS symptoms start to come out in their luteal phase. If you are feeling this, make sure that you're taking it easy on your training. It doesn't mean to not do any training at all. You can still train, but you're just not going for a ton of PRs and hitting all that unless you feel good. And this is the important piece with cycle syncing. It's not a one size fits all. It's not, hey, every single time your luteal phase or your menstrual phase rolls around, you are slashing your workouts in half. you are doing body weight exercises or you're not going to the gym at all. No, it's really listening to your body and seeing what it needs. Can you continue to lift decent weight? Some people can, and they don't have any effect from that. And so it's really just about listening to your body, knowing what it needs, and lowering the intensity during these times if you need that. So making sure that you are adjusting your exercise as necessary for you specifically. Another tip here would be to limit alcohol and caffeine. Again, especially leading up to your period, your luteal phase, cutting back on caffeine, having half calf or decaf coffee, or switching to more matchas, so that you're just lowering the caffeine levels leading up to it. That can be beneficial, as well as alcohol. And again, I won't ever tell anybody to absolutely cut out alcohol unless I need it, but how often are you drinking? How much are you drinking? Making sure that you're kind of limiting that to support not only your liver function here, but also this will have an impact on your PMS. So those are some other tips beyond just lifestyle habit changes that you can work on. And then in terms of period pain, if you do experience period pain, here are some of my tips for period pain. So number one is herbal teas. Raspberry leaf tea is really great. Nettle leaf tea is great, but sipping on this, warming things up, having it a few times throughout the day always helps me feel better. One, having hot, warming foods and beverages just help internally with the body. It's, helps with muscle relaxing. It helps with blood flow. Warm, hot foods and beverages help with blood flow, which can help. But also just the herbal teas themselves are beneficial. So I like to have those a few times throughout the day when I'm feeling a little bit crampy. So herbal teas, raspberry leaf tea would be my number one, nettle leaf second. And then you can also try having a heating pad. This again helps with blood flow and circulation to the area. So you can strap that on, or if you don't have one that like mine's Velcro, so I can just strap it on and move around and do things if I still need to. Or you can just do the one where maybe you lay down for a little bit and you just lay it across you. But try a heating pad, that is super beneficial. And then two others that I recommend is supplements. So a ginger supplement, surprisingly enough, is very efficient with period cramps. It has been shown to be as effective as NSAIDs, so it's definitely one of those supplements that has a positive benefit. So you can try a ginger supplement or magnesium glycinate. This is a calming supplement also for muscle relaxation. So this could be beneficial for you as well. So those are some of my period pain support tips for you. But overall, get labs done, see what's going on a deeper level, and make sure your lifestyle habits are in line with good cycle health. So that concludes question number 2. Moving on to question number 3 here is, does fasting help with losing weight, and should I do it, I'm assuming is what was saying there. So does fasting help with losing weight? It can, yes. Emphasis on the can or may. It may help, but it is not a magic thing. And let me break that down for you. So the way fasting works, if you're doing intermittent fasting, the way that this works is it helps you lose weight by helping you be in a calorie deficit. Because if you are waiting until, let's say you wait until 11 a.m., 12 p.m. to have your first meal, right? So then you're having your first meal, then let's say you have your last meal at 6:30, right? So you're having it between, say 12 and 6:30, you're having your meals. As opposed to somebody who has maybe breakfast at 9 a.m. and they'll have the last meal at 7. There's a longer window of time there, and so you may have more food in that time frame than in a shorter time frame. So it is just closing your food window. That is the only thing that fasting is doing. Now, you don't have to be intermittent fasting to be in a calorie deficit. You can still have breakfast at 8 a.m. and lose weight. So does fasting help with losing weight? Yes, it can, or it may. But for some people, they can lose weight and not intermittent fast and be totally fine with that. So it's not the end-all be-all. It's not cookie cutter. It is not magic. I would suggest that you do intermittent fasting if it's easier for you to stick to that calorie deficit. If you feel like you enjoy a shorter window of eating because it helps you not overeat, then yes, I would say intermittent fasting may be more beneficial for you. but it is not for everybody. And so again, it's not magic. You can still lose weight without doing intermittent fasting and be totally fine. The intermittent fasting, excuse me, intermittent fasting is beneficial for some specific cases, but it is not.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Health Club with Julia podcast. If you love the episode, share the podcast and tag me, and subscribe so you don't miss any further episodes. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a DM. Thanks for being a part of the club. See you next time.